Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. A lot of things have been coming out that are very interesting. And, one of the things that have come out that brought to my attention is that Andy Ruiz Jr. saying that Anthony Joshua is not good at boxing. The rematch will be the same. And these are a few quotes from Andy Ruiz. He says the only thing that he can do is just run around. He's not good at boxing, as far as referring to Anthony Joshua. And I like Andy Ruiz. I think that he has a tremendous chance to win the rematch with Anthony Joshua. I think that Andy Ruiz brings a lot of hand speed and an awkward style for Anthony Joshua, which will be difficult to overcome for most fighters. But we have to be honest and unbiased in our analysis. Even though I like Andy Ruiz, I think he's a very good fighter. I think that at the end of the day, he's constantly starting to look like he's overlooking Anthony Joshua's, not giving him the respect. Because, in the first fight, Andy Ruiz dropped Anthony Joshua 4 times. He felt very confident. I understand that. And many people look at Andy Ruiz as an undefeated fighter because they felt like he was robbed against Joseph Parker. But let's be honest and unbiased when we look at it and be honest. Andy Ruiz is a very good fighter, but he did go 12 with Joseph Parker. He did go 10 with Kevin Johnson. So Andy Ruiz, is fighting Anthony Joshua is a different level of fighter. Anthony Joshua was hit with a great shot. Andy Ruiz, won that fight fair and square, but the rematch will be a different thing because, the difference between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz is a few things. One, the height difference. Andy Ruiz is 6'2" with a 74-inch reach. Now, you'll say, well, Anthony Joshua can't box. He's robotic. He's this, he's that. Only fanboys say that. Anthony Joshua has an 82-inch reach and is 6'6". Literally, the only thing that Anthony Joshua needs to do is establish his jab. Work off his jab, work behind his jab, and he can walk Andy Ruiz into a shot. He can dominate the fight from that angle because at the end of the day, that's why Anthony Joshua was a heavy favorite against Andy Ruiz. Yes, that was a great fight, but you have to understand if these guys fight multiple times, it's going to be a different outcome at some point because Anthony Joshua's power has the ability to change a fight. People say that Anthony Joshua has no chin. If he has no chin, he wouldn't have beat Vladimir Klitschko. Yes, he got knocked down, but he won the fight. You can't finish a fight against a Hall of Fame fighter like Vladimir Klitschko if you have no chin. You can't finish a fight against a Joseph Parker if you have no chin. You can't finish a fight against an Alexander Povetkin, probably one of the strongest fighters that Anthony Joshua has ever fought. And most people recognize Alexander Povetkin's power as levels above Andy Ruiz's power. Andy Ruiz has hand speed and good punching placement, but Anthony Joshua should employ the same game plan he did against Povetkin, against Ruiz, establishing his jab and working from behind it, setting up shots, working the body, and having Andy Ruiz come in and him countering him with something hard, strong, and flush. Not looking for the knockout, just letting it come to you if it's available. If not, go to a decision. Anthony Joshua is a very good boxer. He's shown that before. And you have to understand that Anthony Joshua, has 23 fights. 23 fights, and he was, in 22 fights, he was a unified heavyweight champion of the world. In 23 fights, he took his first loss by stoppage, but Andy Ruiz didn't put him to sleep. He dropped him 4 times, and Joshua got up every time. It was clear that Anthony Joshua had a concussion from a great shot from Andy Ruiz, and that's fantastic. But what happens if Anthony Joshua doesn't get a concussion in the second fight? What happens is Anthony Joshua implores his jab. The second fight, the same thing that he didn't do the first fight. What happens when Anthony Joshua drops Andy Ruiz early in the fight, the second fight? Because you have to be honest and unbiased. In the first fight, Anthony Joshua dropped Andy Ruiz first. Anthony Joshua had Andy Ruiz hurt, and then he chose to slug with him. And when he chose to slug with him, he got hit on the temple and got a concussion. He was repeating the same questions to Rob McCracken. He didn't remember a lot of the rounds in the fight. That's clear signs of a concussion. At the end of the day, Andy Ruiz won the fight fair and square. He put on a brilliant performance, and he has an awkward and great style that presents a lot of matchup problems for Anthony Joshua. But to say that he can't box after he dropped you first, after he had you hurt and in trouble, and couldn't finish you because he got caught with a good shot, doesn't mean that he can't take Andy Ruiz's power, and doesn't mean that he can't box. It just means in heavyweight boxing, one punch can change a fight. What happens if Anthony Joshua were to follow up with that punch right after he dropped Ruiz? He finishes him. At the end of the day, if Anthony Joshua establishes his jab, he should win the rematch, even though I think that Ruiz will be a very difficult rematch to have. But once again, unbiased as always is the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.